Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to a video put out by The Critical Thinker, oh no, The Critical Drinker, The Critical Drinker, who made a video about the Marvels was doomed from the start. And throughout my reaction, I'm going to make my personal opinion about his take on the situation with the Marvels known as well. Well, I'm liking this video because, well, he took his time to make this video, so why not give him a like for it? So let's see. Well, the Marvels meltdown. Disney MCU posts lowest box office opening ever at 47 million. What went wrong? Sunday updates. Now, before I proceed, it is important to know that while the Disney it might be going through some hard time with the new phase of its franchise, they trying to get the female characters, trying to give screen time to female characters. Um, this was supposed to happen. There should have been that. This is exactly what is supposed to happen when a brand tries to get more characters involved in their overall picture. Iron Man is still there. Captain America is still there. Thor is there. Loki is there. Wakanda is still there. You have so many. They have so many characters in their vault, so they don't have any issues. The only thing that you know, everybody's trying to make content. So I guess some people is trying to cause Disney to panic about its strategy. But I believe that the Disney has to stay on course. They have to stick with what they are doing, continue with what they are doing, and keep moving forward. Everything will fall into place with time, but they should stay where they are and continue doing what they are doing. Maybe the budget for these movies would have to be adjusted, or bigger characters would have to be put in these movies to at least increase the buzz for the movies. For example, myself, I didn't know that the Marvels was coming out. I don't follow most of the news about Marvel Disney. I didn't even know that this movie was coming out. I just bashed into it. I just noticed it on X. So apart from that, I didn't know the Marvels was coming out. So I guess Disney didn't do a good job pushing this movie, which is a bad thing to do, especially when there are new characters. People are still trying to understand these characters. So let's see what the critical drinker has to say about the Marvels. What's next for the MCU?
You know, it's always interesting to watch the reaction in the entertainment media complex when they run smack bang into a reality so irrefutable that no amount of cope, doublethink, spin doctoring, or manipulative, and that's a good thing, articles can possibly obfuscate it. That's right, the court of box office opinion has rendered its verdict on the Marvels, dear viewer, and their judgment has been harsh and unanimous. This movie is officially a flop. In fact,
Now, personally, I don't think the Marvels is kind of a flop. Now, let me put it this way: monetary wise, it didn't make enough money to at least to help its buzz. At least if the headline is the Marvels made 100,000 or made 100 million in first day of viewing, that would be a great publicity for the movie. However, the movie itself is not a flop because it did what it has to do based on the direction the MCU is trying to go. based on the story the MCU was trying to tell. So if the story itself it's the problem, it's a problem as in the story is not connecting with the audience, then that will be a major flop because that will be the problem that that Marvel would have to worry about. That the story they are trying to tell is not connecting with the audience. In other words, you are telling a bad story, so why continue the bad story? So in that case, I would suggest Marvel should fix the story or abandon the story altogether. Abandon the story and move to another project. Because if they continue trying to tell a story that nobody is trying to listen to, that would be a mistake. That would be a business mistake. Because I believe that they are trying to tell a story which I don't have any idea what the story is about. I don't watch everything Marvel does, but I believe that there is a story they are trying to tell. So
In
let's.
fact, calling the Marvels a flop is a bit like saying that Movie Bob has some questionable opinions about the human race. Yes, it's technically a true statement, but it doesn't really encompass the full magnitude of the problem. The movie recorded an embarrassing $47 million on its opening domestic weekend, by far the worst performance.
Okay, I think there is something I can see right now that I think is a problem with this movie.
Hours on its own.
This is a problem with Marvel with this the Marvels. You see this particular screen where this little girl is doing stunt. While the stunt is kind of interesting, cool looking, why are they shooting it from behind her? That means that this is a stunt double doing the stunt. This is the problem with superhero movies. You hardly see the characters doing anything. It's just the pictures, the images of the characters is just for show, for posters. It's not necessarily because they are doing anything. They are not doing anything. The stunt doubles are the ones doing the thing. So first of all, my problem with Miss Marvel is that number one, she's not anybody. She's not a girl that I would crush on. Let's say okay, she's supposed to be a very little girl. Okay, I'm too grown to be interested in little girls, but I don't think any guy, any little boy, is interested in Miss Marvel. They are more interested in Spider-Man's girlfriend. They are more interested in Spider-Man's girlfriend than they are in this young lady. So having this young lady play Miss Marvel gives her a very serious disadvantage when it comes to appealing to young boys. So she's starting the job, she's starting her movie with a strong disadvantage. She doesn't get the pretty girl, what do we call it, likability. She doesn't get the pretty girl likability. So she would either have to be very intelligent. She would either have to be very intelligent, a super intelligent young girl, or she would either have to be very, very annoying. In other words, triggering emotions. But in order to make her character work, that is a non-attractive, empowered lady, to make the character work, you have to add two more characters. A rival who is attractive, and then a guy. That always work. A triangle where you have her being romantically interested in a guy who is romantically interested in another girl. So having her in that triangle where she's trying to gain having her in that kind of love triangle where she is interested in a guy who is interested in a girl who is prettier in every way, but she has her own thing. She's very, very empowered. And then something else you can add to her personality, at least to balance the odds. It's either she has a bigger heart or she's very very intelligent, emotionally intelligent or something else, whatever intelligence, but she has something that could help her in the competition between herself and the beautiful young lady who is who has the attention of the guy she's interested in. Now, why would I put a guy in the story? That's because that is a story. That is a storyline that works. Now, when you're trying to do something new, like a female superhero movies, like everywhere you see women everywhere. Even some people are now calling it the MCU. Women are everywhere. One thing that would make it work is to put the relationship dynamics, the relationships, and most of the movies that women gravitate towards are movies about female male relationships, not even female female relationships, female male relationships. So adding that dynamics would give her character more likability or more dimension, would give her more character more dimension. So it doesn't be all about, it won't be all about power, power, power. I'm power, I'm powerful, and do this, I do that. I'm more like gods. Gods are boring.
And Domestic Weekend, by far the worst performance out of
Because throughout that fight sequence, her face was not visible. That's a problem. That's a problem. Marvel has to know that this is a problem. We want to see the characters doing something. They shouldn't just be there for posters. They should be doing something. If they can't do anything, let the stunt actors be the superheroes. I would buy ticket to watch the stunt actors do their stunts and be the heroes, and not some other person doing the poster, the the visual posters, but not doing anything in the movie. So that's one other observation I have about all these superhero movies.
any Marvel movie ever. Damn, man, even The Incredible Hulk managed to bring in 55 million, and that was 15 years ago. Oh my goodness, who could possibly have predicted this? Well, everyone, as it turns out. Everyone except the people who made the thing, apparently. No matter how you try to spin it, the movie has been an unmitigated disaster, and now that it's impossible to lie their way out of that fact, the focus has shifted instead on finding a politically acceptable explanation that allows the studio to save face. It wasn't a bad movie, you see. The real problem was the actors' strike preventing the stars from promoting it. Because truly,
I don't think the actor strike stops Marvel from promoting this movie. They could have given YouTube maybe, let's say, $1 million. They could have spent $1 million to promote the movie on YouTube channels. That is, as in, pay the YouTube channels doing videos to run maybe 10 minutes or 10 seconds or 20 seconds advertisement. This show is sponsored by Marvel's Entertainment. This week, the Marvels presents the Marvels. You can get your ticket online. They can do that. They don't have to do billboards and all those things if people are not driving through those roads. If they want to do a cheap advertisement, they can pay YouTubers maybe $10,000 each, based on pay them based on their full their viewership counts, and then they would run the advertisement for Marvel. That's it. I don't think any of them would charge more than $100,000. Let's say Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan might charge up to 100,000 or $1 million, depending on how he's feeling. But what's this guy's name? This guy that does streaming, Canet. I don't think he would charge that much. Or other ladies that are doing YouTube videos, especially the ones that are Marvel fans, or the bunch of people that are doing Marvel programming and things like that. They can run the advertisement for the Marvels, but I don't know. Marvels need to work on their publicity aspect. Now I know that the YouTube there, the particular part of the YouTube that really dislike Carol Danvers, and for some reason Marvel doesn't want to part ways with her, and she's not even trying to fix her problem with those parts of the YouTube sphere. I think one of the major issue with Carol Danvers, I don't know if they have problem with Carol Danvers or with the actress herself. I think maybe it's with the actress and not with the character. But some people might have problem with the character as well. Like myself, the only problem I can see with the character is that she's too strong, emotionally strong, and I don't think I like emotionally strong females. I don't at all. I don't at all. They are very scary. I hate emotionally strong female characters. In fact, emotionally strong females in general, I totally dislike. The reason for that is this: they don't even they, they don't have kids. That is number one. They don't have kids, so they don't even know how to love. They don't know how to protect. They don't know how to guard. All they care about is themselves. Anything that works for themselves, that is what they care about. Because any woman that knows how to love and protect someone they love will not be emotionally strong. They won't be emotionally strong. You'll be emotionally flexible because people are supposed to disappoint you. People are supposed to hurt your feelings. And being emotionally hurt and still being able to love others and accept that people have flaws and not close yourself off is what makes you appealing as a woman. That's my perspective. But most of these emotionally blunt women, they feel like if they are tough, if they frown more, if they don't smile, if they don't brighten the room, that people would respect them more. People would stay away from you. Maybe that's what you want, but it's not what Marvel wants. Marvel wants people to come and watch you in cinema, watch you do things, what you be likable, be admirable, desirable. That's what people want from you. Being emotionally strong does not do anything for that. So let's proceed.
Whenever Brie Larson opens her mic,
Exactly, her name is Brie Larson. I believe most of those people they have problem with Brie Larson, not with Carol Danvers.
to talk about Captain Marvel, she's an instant hit with audiences.
Tom Cruise, I mean.
No, it'll be the first me, not the next Tom Cruise. Thank you very much.
Well, you know.
And if there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that scripted, corporate-approved puff piece interviews on late-night talk shows are where every thinking man goes to form their opinions about the latest film releases.
Now, or something that I would think it would be useful for actresses and actors who do interviews and other things. I would prefer it that when they talk, when they do interviews, they should do the interviews as the character they are playing, not as themselves. Because the characters they are playing is what they should be talking more about and trying to express, not themselves. Because when they are trying to express themselves, that might overshadow their art. Because sometimes maybe what they are doing, what they are trying to explain, is not what their character is. So it will be best if actors, when they are doing interview, they kind of talk about their characters, try to view their interview from the perspective of the character they are playing, not from the perspective of themselves, unless the interviewer asks them themselves particularly. And then they will have to emphasize that speaking of themselves, not as the characters they are playing, this, and that. But they should do more of character speaking as their characters and not as themselves. That would kind of solve most of the problem with them, their personal interview becoming an instrument which most people would use against their work.
How about superhero?
Are we finally tired of superhero? The Marvels become another loser in a bad year for Disney. I don't think we are tired of superheroes. We are not. I think the issue is that the stories are not balanced. There are missing pieces in the stories. For example, in the case of Miss Marvel, there are two characters missing in Miss Marvel, which is a very attractive female uh, character who is in a love triangle with a very attractive female character and a very attractive male character whom Miss Marvel is interested in. That's those two characters are important, and the way I'm painting it is this: Miss Marvel is interested in a guy who is very attractive, and that guy is interested in a girl who is very attractive. That dynamic should be there. It's important.
Fatigue. That's a reliable excuse that can get conveniently wheeled out whenever a film flops. Marvel have just been putting out too many hits in recent years, proving the point that you really can have too much of a good thing. And then, of course, there's the ultimate get out of jail free card for your shitty movie: sexism and misogyny.
Okay, this the part of this the director of the
Get out of jail
the
free
show.
card for your shitty movie: sexism.
Yeah. Director Nia Da Costa says the Marvel's haters are virulent and violent and racist and sexist and homophobic. I don't think this is a good thing to say. Uh, Pretty Lady, she is even more attractive than Miss Marvel. I just have to say that she looks more attractive than Miss Marvel. Maybe because I like black girls. Uh, the thing there is that I don't think any director should be saying anything like this. First of all, if your program or your movie causes uh, racists, sexists, and homophobics to not like what you're doing, that means there is a problem with your show. Now, probably maybe number one, you are mischaracterizing the reason why those people hate what you're doing. Or maybe you are correct. Now, when you characterize someone as racist, that means white male.
And misogyny.
That means white male, because it's mostly white male that people characterized as racist. White male. Now, when you say sexist, that would be mostly men, which could be white and black. So the number of people that will fit in the racist might be, let's say, for example, if the number is 100, if you now go sexist, that would make it 200 people. Then if you now go homophobic, that would make it 500 people. So, which means a whole lot of men are homophobic. This is a whole lot of straight men are homophobic. Now they might not say it, they might not be open with their homophobia, they might be a little bit conservative with it, but vast majority of heterosexual male, straight male, are homophobic. They don't like being touched by a guy inappropriately. They don't like the guy dressing inappropriately. Uh, uh, the thing about men, they dress the way they want other men to dress. If you look at the majority of men in the streets, they don't dress like gays. Even gay men, they don't even like dressing like gays. But you know, the movie version of gay, you see gay men dressing like gays, talking like gays, acting like gays. But in real life, maybe most gay men don't like doing that. But I've not seen a gay man being gay, so I don't know what's up. But the ones that are actually physically being described as gay, they act like the Hollywood version of gay. So the vast majority of men that I see every day, they don't uh, they don't dress like they are like they are homosexual. So which means they are kind of homophobic in the side kind of sense, which could be interpreted as being homophobic. So the number of people that will classify as homophobic will be much more than the number of people classified as sexist, and the number of people classified as sexist will be much larger than the number of people classified as racist. So, in other words, there is a whole lot of people covered in the people that is being described as haters. Now, being describing them as haters is not necessarily an insult to them, but rather it's an observation which the director is making. But she made the observation that there are people that have problem with her show, with her movie, but she doesn't care about addressing those issues or mitigating those issues in her movie. So, in other words, she wants them not to watch her movie, or she doesn't. She wants them to give her movie bad reputation, bad publicity. I don't know. That might not be a good strategy, but let's see. According to the box office, it turns out that it wasn't a good strategy because according to the second week box office, the movie took a very very huge dive, which means most of the people that went to see it didn't have anything good to say about it, and nobody was interested in going to see the movie anymore. So, which means the strategy of not mitigating the hate is not a good strategy.
All of those toxic man babies out there just couldn't stomach the idea of a female-led movie and had to pummel it into the ground lest other humans of a female persuasion start getting dangerous ideas that they can do things for themselves.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Be silent. Keep your tongue behind your teeth.
It's mostly bullshit, of course, and it either ignores or misrepresents the multitude of actual reasons why this movie was practically doomed from the start. But hey, if the access media aren't interested in calling it like it is, then I guess the drinker will have to step in and do their job for them. So strap in as I break down the real reasons why the Marvels flopped. One.
Okay. Now let's go get into his opinion about the reasons why the Marvels flop. The MCU is fucked. Now, this is not a good reason. Number one, this is not a good reason. The MCU is fucked. This doesn't make sense, but it's a good sentence. The MCU is fucked, which is like a headline. The MCU is fucked. But the MCU barely fucks. I can say the MCU is celibate.
It's part of a dying brand. You don't.
The MCU is not a dying brand. That should be gotten out of the way. This is not Captain Marvel flopping. This is not the Avengers flopping. This is not all the big names. They are not the ones flopping. Even Wakanda Forever, Wakanda, they are not flopping. The only issue here is that I guess this guy is over exaggerating the situation. The real fact is that most of the movies that Marvel put out did good, did okay, and this one just happens to be one of the ones that did bad. And there is a good reason why it did bad, but the reason why it did bad is not because the MCU is fucked. The MCU is not fucked. In fact, I saw Loki. Loki is the best thing that I've seen this year. No, not the best thing I've seen this year because I think I like what are they calling it? Empire. The Foundation. I like the Foundation much better. I don't even know if the Foundation came out this year, but I like the Foundation. But Loki is better than the Foundation. I think I like Loki more than the Foundation. The second season of Foundation. The first season of Foundation was perfect, excellent. I loved every second of it. I watched it very, very over and over and over and over. I loved it so much. It's fascinatingly beautiful. Love the characters. Love the girls. The girls were amazing, sexy as hell. Damn. I wish I could have a girlfriend like them. But anyway, they were so amazing to watch. Great actresses, actors, great dialogues, great speeches. In fact, it's like the whole show was ripped out of a book because I believe that books that have such great characters, such great dialogues, are mostly book shows that are well written, that are kind of brought out of a book like Game of Thrones. So uh, I'll put Foundation and Loki 1 and 2, whichever goes first. I think I'll take the first season of Foundation over Loki, and second season of Loki over second season of Foundation. In fact, the second season of Loki is even better than the first season of Loki. And I'll take the second season of Foundation over the first season of Loki.
Don't need me to tell you that the MCU has been in decline for several years now, partly caused by a meandering, fragmented, and unengaging narrative that doesn't really feel like it knows where it's going or that it's building towards anything, and partly
It is building towards something, you just don't know. That is the thing. I don't know what they are building towards, but I heard the screen new Rockstar. They seem to say that this particular phase is building towards a King Dynasty. I don't know what the King Dynasty is all about, but I would think that if you're trying to make a movie about King Dynasty, King should be in everything. But the actor that is playing Kang, which is Jonathan Majors, is going through legal troubles, which I wonder if Disney's rivals are driving these particular legal troubles, but who knows?
because of a sharp decline in the quality of their movies, Marvel suffered a series of embarrassing flops and underperformers over the past 3 years, meaning there's less and less incentive to go see them. Yeah, superhero fatigue is a thing that's starting to cut into the box office, but more specifically, what they're facing here is Marvel fatigue. There's too much content, and it's mostly shit, and as a result, it's souring people on the entire brand. Two,
Having too much context is not a problem, especially when when you are trying to tell a comic book story. The only issue is that you have to have fix the problems with all your content. All the contents have a problem. The problem is that the narratives has to be woven. That is the timeline of events and everything that is happening have to be weaved together or connected, linked properly. So, in other words, they need a means of getting people to understand the big picture of what is happening in the MCU. If their big picture is not being properly explained in their story, then they will be doing their fans a disservice. But the case of this particular movie, the Marvels having too many shows is not the problem with the Marvels. I would explain the problem with the Marvels. I think I've said one of the main problems that I have with the Marvels already, but there are other problems.
there's no big names attached to it. Harsh as this may sound,
Okay, big name being attached to the Marvels is another main issue. There is no reason why Shuri is not in this movie. They could find any reason to put Shuri in this movie. If they have to make it a chick flick, a chick movie, then they should have put Shuri in this movie. Putting Shuri in this movie would add a lot to the movie, or at least they should have put her there. Take out what is his name? What? What's this guy's name? Fury. Yeah. Take out the F and put the she. Take out the F and put the she, and you have a bigger character in the movie. You take out Fury and put in Shuri. That will make increase the clout of the movie. Having Shuri in the movie is a big thing, which is her as Shuri, because from the event of Wakanda Forever, Black Panther wasn't in the show. She wasn't taking up the mantle as Black Panther because she left that to she didn't participate in in the context for leadership. So, which means she is choosing to be herself, Shuri, and Black Panther would then be the next person that wins the battle for the throne, which we don't know, but we assume that it would be Mbaku. That it would be Mbaku. So, in this case, I don't think. I think he is correct in this case that they should have put a bigger character, added a bigger character in the show. Now, I want to say something else. Why isn't a guy among the two girls? Or are they trying to do a Charlie's Angel movie with three non with one non-attractive lady, young girl, and two good-looking female who choose not to be attractive by design, not by character choice, because there is nothing in their characterization that should make them not attractive. Rather, they are made non-attractive by design, which I don't think this design works. The design should be fixed. So this would not work for a Charlie's Angel type of movie. So why not put a guy in the midst? At least take away Monica Rambeau and put in a male character in the midst, so it becomes two girls and a guy. Now the guy can be a more popular character, maybe someone like who should I suggest? Thor. Thor would work. Thor would work because in Infinity War, or is it Endgame? Endgame. In Endgame, he had a kind of issue, a kind of brush with Carol, so they could have played that, Carol and Thor. That would have been an attractive story, Carol Danvers and Thor, and then have them rub heads together, beef, fight each other, kind of have a kind of romantic flashes or things like that. Girls love that, and then see if he would break her armor or she would break his armor, if things like that. There are so many things that a very creative director or writer can do with Carol and Thor. So I believe it could have been better to have a threesome, you could have the Marvels, where the Marvels would be Miss Marvels and Captain Marvel, and then you now have Thor in the midst. So have the three of them working together. That could have made a bigger show. That's Thor, Miss Marvel, and Captain Marvel. But I guess they choose to go to the route of Charlie's Angel, where you have Miss Marvels, Monica Rambeau, and Carol Danvers, which is okay. Kamala Khan, that is her name, Kamala Khan. Her character name is Kamala Khan. So I guess they choose to go that route, but the story needed more depth. So in the case of Kamala Khan, the only depth I can think of is adding two more characters to her storyline, which is the female, the attractive female, and the attractive male whom she crushes on and tries to impress. I totally disagree. I totally dislike the idea of Kamala Khan being obsessed with Captain Marvel. Number one, she has never seen Captain Marvel in action. As in, based on the movies we've seen, she has never seen her in action. In Captain Marvel's movie, wasn't within the timeline was even before her mother was born. That's the thing. The Captain Marvel movie happened before Kamala's mom was born, and the events of Endgame, where Captain Marvel performed, happened in another planet, and then it happened on Earth, but I think it was at okay, somewhere at New York, but I don't think it was publicized, and none of the things that she's fantasizing about really made sense. In fact, I could say that there is no way she would know that Captain Marvel exists. There's no way she could know. She could know that because Captain Marvel wasn't a city hero. She's kind of a hero that shows up during galactic events or universal events and does very powerful things. So Kamala having obsession with Captain Marvel's doesn't work because based on the Marvel's timeline, she shouldn't know about Captain Marvel. She shouldn't know about her. So that's a kind of a story flaw in the thing. So the way they wrote the story, they made it look like Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, is a very popular hero that is all over the town doing heroic stuff. But that's not what was happening. That never happened in any of the movies that I've seen, unless there is a Captain Marvel movie that I've not seen that shows her in the city fighting crime, doing amazing things without blowing up things. Well, that would be in that case. Then that would be a reason for her to obsess over her. If there is anyone she should obsess over, it should be the guy in cape, the the insect. she should be obsessing over the insect. She should be obsessing over the insect, not Miss Marvel. So that is another problem with the story. So
None of the actors in this movie are the kind of box office draws that a film like this desperately needs to generate buzz.
now they can be box office bucks if Marvel focused on building them up to become likable characters. Now I believe that Marvel did a very terrible job with Carol Danvers. They did a very terrible job with her in that the first time we were introduced to her, we were introduced to her on the story of how she got her power. Now, after getting her power, how does the power affect her personality, her relationships? In fact, what was her relationship life? Because one thing we discovered is that when she got into this, when she became part of the Creed, or is it the Creed or the other people? I don't know. I've forgotten the stories, but based on what I can remember, she was fighting like a police officer. Even during the time before she realized that she had powers, or before she got powers, I don't know which one is which, but I can't remember. I would have to rewatch the show. But one thing we would have to discover is that Captain Marvel doesn't have strong relationships. She seems to be like someone who just passes by. She comes into your life, she drops by, comes into your life, does great thing, and then she goes away. And when you need her the most, she's not there. So she's more like a passerby. She just comes and goes, and those kind of relationship hurts. Now, the show trying to make a movie about her character is a very good idea. Making a movie about someone who just comes into people's life and goes away, and when people need them, they are not there, and people have to move on with their life, and then she comes back again. And when she comes back again, she might be expecting people to behave normal with her, but people are filled with disappointment. So I guess they even tried to touch on that in this particular story, but using Monica Rambeau as a window to that. But I think based on her nature of her characterization, they could have made a bigger movie for her based on her characterization, which means that she touches the lives of many people, but she always ends up leaving them in disappointment because she comes and goes. Because she comes and goes, she always leaves them with disappointment, but she impacts the lives of so many people. Now, how will I fix the problem? One other issue with Carol Danvers' story, because she comes and goes and she doesn't have the ability to be attached, become emotionally attached with people. that would also make for an interesting story where she tries to do it, where she tries to be emotionally attached, tries to care for someone. So maybe you can put a love story there where, like, let's say some guy, some dude, some douche or whatever is interested in her, and now she has to determine if the person's interest in her is superficial, just physical, just want to hit, have sex with her, and whether she would do it just to see what it's like, as in, okay, this guy wants to hit on me, wants to fuck me, okay, come, let's fuck. So, which she could do that. She could do that. Having sex with multiple guys, and I'm not sure it's going to break her armor. So she could do that, explore, do that, and then maybe the guy is actually interested in her, and then she'll not try to struggle with trying to establish a long-term relationship with a guy. I think that's a way that they can make Carol Danvers a little bit more interesting, more appealing, both to girls and to guys, especially girls who kind of who are like her, who don't like to be emotionally attached to other people, or guys who are the same way like her, because both guys and girls can share the same personality, and then figuring out how to maneuver, maneuver through those emotions might be a kind of a kind of therapy that Marvels could explore. You can do a movie on that based on Carol Danvers, because her story is basically her character is basically a very empowered lady who moves around a lot, more like a traveler, moves around a lot, but doesn't establish a long-term relationship with people, and having trying to have her attempt to do that would make for a story. Maybe it works out fine, or maybe calamity strikes and she loses everything and it breaks her heart and things like that. That would be a tragedy, but it doesn't have to be a tragedy. It could just be like an exploration, trying to see what such movie would be, and that would make her likable. She's powerful. She's very powerful, but what will it be like? I think there's a movie that actually explored something about a very powerful lady and the ordinary man. Was it Hancock? Hancock. This movie with Will Smith. I think maybe it's the one with me, Will Smith, or is it not? I don't know. Something like that. They could explore that. Have a guy hit on Carol Danvers, or multiple guys hit on her, or she goes on a fucking trip or fucking different guys to see if they can make her to prove that she's too strong, or to see if they can stimulate her or make her like it, enjoy it, or if she could be normal or things like that. I don't know. Then maybe or they could. Oh, here. I think I have a good idea. I just have something coming to my mind. Okay, so let's see. She's too strong. She's very powerful. Now, she could be in a relationship with guys or with multiple guys. Actually, most women they have multiple guys in them. Like when they talk about their numbers, if in a room full of 10 girls, more than 9 of them have slept with more than one guy. You could only find 1 in 10 who has only slept with one guy and is currently with that same guy. So since most women are like that, slots, we could have her play that character where she's trying to establish emotional connection, trying to find someone who could stimulate her. But most of the guys she meets can't stimulate her. They try to get physical with her, but getting physical with her doesn't work on her. They end up passing out, end up blowing out, end up feeling bad about it, disappointed or whatever, and until she meets a guy who connects with her intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, and maybe that would be the moral of the story, that it doesn't have to always be a physical thing, You can also bond with people emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, and more. It doesn't have to be the physical stuff. That could be the moral of the story. So they could do something like that with Carol Danvers. She's the perfect candidate for such story. She's too powerful. In fact, so powerful that she could start a son. I don't know if I don't know any man who can handle such power. Having sex with such a powerful woman could set you on fire.
Iman Vellani, Zawe Ashton, and Teyonah Parris are all fucking nobodies. Brie Larson's only high-profile role was in the first Captain Marvel 4 years earlier, and at this point, even Samuel Jackson is not all that exciting, partly because he seems determined to appear in every single movie getting made.
Yeah. Now, another problem I have with this movie is that her parents. Now, this might look like a good idea for a story, having these three characters in her story. This actually hurts the movie because this kind of people don't watch the movie. I would have replaced these three characters with this being a hot girl, the pretty young girl. Replace this female character with a pretty young girl who is like her rival. Rival in the sense that she is in an entanglement with a pretty hot guy whom she is interested in. That would be a better dynamics. She is interested in a pretty hot guy, and the pretty hot guy is interested in the pretty hot girl, right? So you have that, and then you can now have this be kind of her best friend, a male character, her best friend who is interested in her, helping her with her things, helping her with everything. In fact, she even trusts her, he'll trust him and let him know her secret, or he discovers her secret, but he's keeping her secret for her or helping her understand herself or things like that. And then, but he's too close with her, helping her and everything and all that, but she's interested in him and he's interested in her or things like that. So that's kind of a dynamic that could have played better than having this particular dynamic, unless there is some, I don't know. This is not Captain America, Steve Rogers. This is not Thor, and this is not who would this be? I don't know. Black Widow. So what are they doing in this movie? They are not adding anything to this story. Three matured old people don't add anything in this story. They definitely did nothing to this story. This is just a waste of space, waste of characters. This did nothing for the movie. This picture, it did nothing for the movie. I'm sorry, Marvel. This was a mistake, a very terrible mistake. This is a terrible mistake. So I agree with this dude.
So his presence isn't exactly a big event anymore.
So him, in my opinion, I would have substituted Fury for Shuri.
And partly because nobody cares about his character now. Nick Fury's been gradually broken down and deconstructed in recent years to the point where the coolest character in the MCU, played by the coolest actor in Hollywood, feels more like a fat, embarrassing middle-aged dad trying to hang with his son's friends. Which brings me along to my next point. Number 3, there's no popular characters. The movie features a trio of female superheroes at its core, 2 of which have only appeared in obscure Disney Plus shows, and a third which was never popular in the first place and has barely been seen in over 4 years. Yeah, I know there's still a few die-hard Marvel NPCs out there that'll literally defend anything shot out by the MCU, and just love to point out that the first Captain Marvel made over $1 billion at a time when every fucking Marvel movie was making $1 billion. In reality, though, it was the most protected movie in history. The review scores were carefully managed to give it the most positive rating possible, and it was released under the most favourable market conditions that have ever existed, conveniently sandwiched between two of the biggest films in the entire MCU, when excitement for the brand was at a fever pitch, with a marketing campaign that somehow managed to convince everyone that it was going to be an event movie on the same level as Infinity War and Endgame.
It's sad that in the first Marvel's movie, I just saw a scene in the first Marvel movie, this scene where she was kind of fake reading. She was actually reading a phone book, I guess, or whatever. I don't know what that is.
For the
She
brand
was
was
reading
that
something, and a biker
for the brand
kind of started chatting with her. She's a kind of a warrior, and getting the interest of a guy shouldn't uphold her. Why didn't she accept his advances, fuck him, and take his bike with his consent? That would have been a very great story. So that would have been a perfect story. But the way they cut the scene, they made it look as if she stole his bike. She whipped his ass up and stole his bike. Now, what does that do? Number one, first of all, you annihilate a lot of fans, especially the people who like bikers and like the charm of bikers. You kind of insult all of them by saying they are too not your kind. So that doesn't help your character's development, especially when your character is portrayed as this strong female who doesn't get hurt. Now, maybe you can be emotionally hurt, but come on, you needed this guy's bike. You can make a deal to get his bike. Maybe the deal is, come on, dude, I need your bike. Or you just hit on the guy, ask him some questions, figure some things out, and then you tell him to take off his pants. You know, do you know why people like what they call it, Daenerys Targaryen? Now, if Daenerys was written by the person who wrote this Carol Danvers story, Daenerys would not have sex with Dario Daenerys. In fact, she would murder Khal Drogo and run away. That is what she would do. But because she was written by George R. R. Martin, he made sure that Daenerys would be a likable character. In order for Daenerys to be a likable character, she wouldn't despise the men in her life, but rather conquer them, put them in her pocket. They should work for her, not work against her. So that's what he did with her character. And that made Daenerys likable. In fact, even when Daenerys burned down the city, a lot of people made excuses for her. A lot of people tried to justify it. And those who didn't want to justify what she did kind of took up their anger against the writers of the show, Dan and Dave. That's how much people loved Daenerys as a character. And people liking Daenerys had to do with the way she manipulated her situation, and not by making her kind of a man basher or hater of men or disliking masculinity or whatever, but rather she adapted to her reality and tried to make her enemies into her friends by any means necessary, without diminishing her position as well. So that's a better way of writing a strong female character. So I guess this particular scene is a symptom of the direction the writers or the directors are going with their strong female character, their modern strong female characters, and their modern strong female character is not appealing to anybody. It doesn't work. It's not working. The only one that works is Daenerys Targaryen or even Cersei Lannister to an extent. But Daenerys Targaryen works. Sansa Stark, Arya Stark works, but this doesn't work. So this scene, if if George R. R. Martin wrote this scene, she would have had sex with this guy, take his bike. He would ask her for her number, and she would tell him that she would ignore it. She might ignore it, or she would give him her number, a cipher to decode. If he can decode the cipher, fine. If he can't, fine. She's not interested. Take her bike and go. He didn't perform well towards it. He didn't perform. So take his bike and then go away. So that would have been a better story. So that scene would take like let's say 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 minute scene, just her fucking up a dude and fucking a dude and taking his bike, not fucking him up, fucking him and take his bike with his consent, and then go away and go to do what she wants to do. That would have been a better story. It would have been a better characterization for her, because at the end of the day, it will still stick with the fact that she's still a strong woman, and then add the personality that she doesn't take things by force. She doesn't steal, which is something that a superhero should have. Not stealing from people. If you would take people's thing, you would take get their consent and take their property. So that would have been something else added to her personality. And then, and also she likes sex, like most women. She likes sex, and the guy doesn't satisfy her other needs, just sex and sexual needs. She had sex with him, fine, and she moved on. So that's something else female women can identify with. Not all women, but most women can identify with that. Trust me, I've had sex with women who are not my girlfriend, and I don't know. I'm not a female, so I don't know what they are thinking when they are doing it. Because okay, a girl has a boyfriend, she knows that you know that she has a boyfriend, but you're with her and she starts hitting on you, and you have sex with her, and she still goes on having sex with being with the same guy, and you have to move on. Then whenever she feels like it, she walks past you and start grabbing your dick. Like, what are you going to do? So it's just like that. Just things women do. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. They fuck around. A lot of them, not just a few. A lot of them. So I don't know. So I don't know why they should have done this. She would have had sex with him and then take his bike, with his consent.
And was at a fever pitch with a marketing campaign that somehow managed to convince everyone that it was going to be an event movie on the same level as Infinity War and Endgame. Put simply, it wasn't, but by the time everyone realised that fact, it was too late and the movie had made bank. Either way, the point is that nobody was particularly invested in Captain Marvel as a character, mainly because she didn't really have one. She was a perfect example of what Gary likes to call the hero's journey, a wish fulfillment power fantasy that starts out strong and awesome, is liked by almost everyone, wins at everything to become even stronger and more awesome, and eventually realises that the only thing holding her back from god tier level of awesomeness is the rest of the world failing to accept how amazing she is. I mean, really, is it any wonder that people didn't connect with a character like that? And the thing is, she's not exactly alone either, which brings me neatly on to number 4, the MCU.
The MCU is not a problem. I don't think making a movie full of women is a problem. It's not. I don't think so. I think the problem is more like those female characters not being well developed. That's the problem. They are not well developed. If they develop the characters properly, they would connect. But not developing them properly doesn't connect with anybody. So that makes it a problem. So I don't think the problem is the MCU having more female characters. There are lots of female stories that can be told, but they have to be told, not pushing unrealistic agenda. Unrealistic agenda. I don't even recall any of these girls having kissing anybody. making some romantic gestures. There was no turn on in this movie. Everything was so angry, annoying. In fact, even the villain of the story is very, very attractive. In fact, I would have asked her, "Hello, baby," or give her the whistle. That's something I would have done. Who knows? Give her the trumpet. Herald her presence. All hail the queen. That's something I would have done. But there was nothing appealing about these characters, and the movie was so short, less than 2 hours. For a movie like this, involving two characters, they could have taken their time and told the story. Take your time. First of all, make people like the character, introduce the character, like the story, weave the story like you're weaving something. Give people 3 hours something to spend their money on, not to rush into a theater and get bored to death. So that wasn't a good
So
strategy.
disposing of Ike Perlmutter, who was basically the only thing keeping the MCU on track, one of Kevin Feige's stated objectives was to introduce more female characters into the MCU. In fact, he wanted more than 50% of Marvel heroes to be female. Now, a smart writer
It's okay to want. It's okay to have 50% of the heroes being female. That's okay. Uh, it will be a rough ride. So hopefully the MCU, Marvel doesn't quit on themselves. They shouldn't quit on themselves. They should stick on their guns, but try to make the story more interesting. Figure out what's working on other shows or throughout history, because everything is still the same, even though we are running this present feminist bullshit. At the end of the day, women have not changed. They are still women. They are still women. Whatever they liked yesterday, they still like it today, and they will still like it tomorrow. So you take what has worked in the female flicks, you take that and you put it in the female characters. You put what females like in the female characters, not. And also, if you want to put female characters, and for example, look at this image of Black Widow. We could barely see her skin. Black Widow doesn't usually dress like this. Come on. She always looks attractive, like she's trying to seduce Captain America. Like this Russian girl is trying to seduce Captain America. That's what. Oh my.
could have found ways to gradually introduce cool, interesting, well-rounded female characters to complement rather than undermine the existing male heroes. You know, proving the point that both men and women are pretty awesome in their own ways, and that when they work together instead of against each other.
I don't think making the female aspect of the MCU an issue. It's not an issue. Just the story is not working. They have to make the story work, and you make the story work by using things that are working. Females like relationship stories. They don't like super action. They like emotional thriller. They like emotional thing. So you have to put the emotional aspect of the story in the story so that the women would be interested in it. Because if you run the advertisement for the show, like the trailer for the trailer for the show should strike the nerve. It should make them want to watch it, want to partake in the experience, want to experience the emotional journey. But the Marvels didn't provide that, so that's the problem.
Great things can happen. The writers at Marvel were not smart, however. Instead, what we ended up with was a relentless deluge of smug, generic, overpowered, patronising boss bitches that the scripts were painfully eager to depict as smarter, stronger, more capable, more righteous, and more assertive than the dumb
Come
and
on.
timid.
No dissing of Shuri. I love Shuri.
outdated imposters now wearing our favourite heroes like skin suits. They usually excelled in traditionally male-dominated fields like science, technology, aerospace and engineering. They were often completely self-taught, and of course, they never needed help from a man. And by God, Marvel really went all in with this one. If a movie or TV show happened to have a male lead, you could basically guarantee there would be at least 2 or 3 of these strong female supporting characters hovering around him, making fun of his grandiose posturing and consistently outperforming him in every possible way. On the other hand, if the movie was female-led, then the favour was absolutely never returned, because of course, that door only ever swings one way. And while this isn't a very diplomatic way of putting it, fuck me, that shit became real old real fast. The resulting oversaturation of poorly written, superficially strong but fundamentally unlikable female characters was soon mockingly labelled the MCU, and the result was a gradual souring of audiences towards any new female characters. People just didn't trust them anymore because they knew exactly what they'd be getting when one of them showed up. Just another smug feminist power fantasy here to put men in their place and pander to the female demographic. And really, Captain Marvel pretty much set the tone for the MCU before it was even a thing. She was the quintessential Marvel girl boss, always strong, always being told how great she is, never vulnerable, weak or flawed, and ultimately so physically powerful that she was practically unusable as a hero because nothing could threaten her. After
Now, having a character that is very powerful is not a problem. In fact, I would love to tell the story of a character that is very powerful, and that is the story of God. Now, in a story of a character that is very powerful, like the Bible, where you have God, the Almighty, the All-Powerful, who created the heaven and the earth, even Carol Danvers revived the sun, and then brought life into a dead planet. I think she was being characterized as a god. Even in all that, God had a flaw. And the flaw God had is that he made man, and man didn't live up to his expectation. So the dynamics between God and man was what made the Bible more interesting. But the story had always been about man. Now, if you want to take, you can't use the Bible for Carol Danvers as in making her a god. Although she is a god based on her power set, she's a god in the sense of Loki, Thor, and stuff. Which is why I would have preferred if this story about the Marvels was about Kamala Khan and Carol Danvers switching place with each other. But then you insert Thor in the midst of the two of them. Now, if you have to have that Monica Rambeau in the story in order to bring in the X-Men into the storyline, in that case, you would have to put her on another role, in another role. So having her in another role, not within the entanglement, that would have been better. But having the Marvel, the Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Thor in as the trio, that would have been a better pull. That's just my opinion.
For 4 years of being beaten over the head by the insufferable girl boss archetype, it's no wonder the audiences were less than excited to go see a movie built around 3 of the fucking things. Number 5, it sucks.
All the points you made said it sucks, so I agree.
I don't think that point requires much elaboration, really. The Marvels is basically a shit film with a bland, formulaic story that feels like it was written by a retarded AI, boring characters with nonsensical motivations, apathetic performances, crappy editing and visual effects, and absolutely no heart or passion. In short, The Marvels was basically always going to fail, because most of the conditions that set the original movie up to succeed were now working against it. And it does make me wonder if this film might represent a turning point of sorts, an end to the bloated, predictable excesses of a studio that once believed it could do no wrong, an end to the tired, predictable girl boss trope that's blighted so many people's enjoyment of the MCU, and in a larger sense, an end to the reign of the big budget superhero movie. Next year is going to be a quiet one for Marvel, with only a single movie penciled in for release, and it does make me wonder if they'll use this lull in production to rethink their creative direction. Time will tell, but something tells me the failure of the Marvels is something they won't forget in a hurry. Now, just before I fuck off to drink myself into oblivion again, I wanted to remind you that my shiny new Critical Drinker merch store is now up and running and accepting orders.
Well.
I figured it was a
Well, at least you've seen enough of his merch, The Critical Drinker. So, patronize this dude. He's cool. I like his voice. Nice presentation. But I disagree with most of his points, especially the part of the MCU being about the MCU being dead or something. I think the MCU is fine. It's fine. They have a lot of characters people like. Those characters are not the ones flopping. The ones that are not connecting with the expected audience. I believe they made this Marvel stuff for female audience. The female audience didn't show up for the movie, and the reason why they didn't show up is because the movie was emotionally bland. It didn't have emotional. Doesn't have anything that women like in it. So that's the problem the movie have. So you can check out this merch, Critical Drinker, cool dude. But I disagree with some of his points and I agree with some of his points. I think that will be all for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to post more videos in due time. Peace, and I'm out. How do I stop this? Damn. Stop. How do you stop it? How do you stop recording? Damn. I press the escape button, will it stop? Damn, I don't know how to stop recording. Let's place the escape button and see what happens. Select escape. Won't work. How do you stop this? Quit.